Now, you may remember before Christmas, I spoke to the film director Mahmoud Kaabour, whose film A Champ of the Camp was going to be premiered at the Dubai International Film Festival. We were looking ahead, in fact, to the premiere at Burj Khalifa in downtown Dubai. Well, I'm delighted to say that Mahmoud is back with me in the studio. And, well, I've read the press reports, I saw the reaction on Twitter, I saw the reaction on Facebook. I didn't get the chance to go to downtown Dubai myself, but I was lucky enough to go to the screening that you then had a couple of days later in Mall of the Emirates. How did it all go?
It was all just too exciting to believe. The premiere we had at Burj Khalifa might have been one of the largest film premieres in the history of the region. We had plus 1,200 people scattered around the Burj. There was barely any patch of grass left to sit on. And people were really engaged in the world of the labor camps as seen right next to the Burj, which is the greatest thing ever built by the laborers of this country. It was a very moving evening. There was a standing ovation once the laborers took to the stage, and they took the liberty of singing live to the audiences who came to see the film. There was so much enthusiasm in the following days. The wonderful audiences here in Dubai did not spare a chance to tweet about the film or blog about it. The reviews were stellar, not just here locally, but also the reviews from the film world, from Variety, from Screen International, and from The Hollywood Reporter, which are usually the reviews that make or break a film. And the biggest sign that we got was that the Dubai public and the UAE at large are really keen on seeing this film. So since that night, we've been campaigning really hard to get this film into movie theaters here in the Emirates, and we're very, very proud to have secured interest, and we now have a date. The film will be in theaters on January 30th if we succeed to promote it enough.
All right, we'll talk about that in a moment because that's the reason why I've asked you to come back here today. First of all, though, for people that do not know what the film is about, can you give us a synopsis?
Champ of the Camp is the first documentary to ever be made across the labor camps in the United Arab Emirates. We basically followed a really amusing Bollywood singing competition that takes place across the camps, and towards the end of the competition, one laborer gets crowned as the champ of all camps. It's a musical film which also opens a window onto the lives of the many men who leave their families behind in the Asian subcontinent and come here to build the dream cities of the Gulf. And it's quite a humanly driven piece. It's not a polemic. We did not do it with any political agenda. We really did it just to give the voice for once to the laborer to tell his own story and tell us why they're here and what their big Dubai dream is.
In terms of the timeline, this happened in 2012.
That's correct. We filmed over 4 months in the summer of 2012. That's when the singing competition itself takes place. And we were following these guys as well in their personal lives and seeing how they go to work, how they live in their rooms, and listening closely to their emotional stories about the families they're leaving behind and what they're trying to do by being here and working so hard in jobs that are really quite trying.
Some people might be surprised when you say that the competition actually runs in summer.
True, but given the summer is more trying than the rest of the year, namely due to the heat, the competition, which is organized by Western Union, ends up being a little distraction for these men. So it's a way of keeping their spirits up by giving them a chance to sing their favorite Bollywood songs from movies which they tend to consume quite heavily. You know, Bollywood is such a big thing for these men. It ranks as the number one entertainment for them. And they get these 10 or 15 minutes of glory being on stage and competing and hopefully winning something at the end of every round.
The competition goes around various camps, doesn't it?
Correct. The competition in the year when we made this film has spanned 70 camps. I understand that has increased in the 2013 edition, which I didn't get to see because I was editing the film. It now covers, I believe, around 100 camps, and they had up to 10,000 men at the season finale.
So let's get back to what we were talking about. You said that you've been lucky enough to secure a distribution deal. So that means you've got the chance to show it at the cinema. But you're looking for extra funding now, aren't you, to help ensure that that showing will become successful?
Correct. The UAE has not had many documentary releases before. As a matter of fact, there was 2 only. One of them is Grandma a Thousand Times, the film I made previously, and Sicko by Michael Moore. Documentaries are still a new magnet in this region. As the festivals are proving, they attract a lot of niche audiences and the interest is growing. But distributors are quite reluctant to actually invest money in the release. So I'm being given access into movie theaters, but any promotion that needs to be done, I, as the producer, have to bear the cost of that. And the truth remains that unless a release of the sort is heavily advertised in newspapers and magazines, unless we get to go on TV and radio and speak about it, and unless we can create the exhibition format that the theater needs to play to show the film, we cannot make it happen. And this all falls on us. And the truth is, as I mentioned in my last interview here, my last dime has gone on screen. It's in the film itself. We cannot afford to promote more, which will only mean that the film will appear in theaters for a day or 2. And if it doesn't fill up, it will be replaced by a more commercial title. And this is Emirati cinema. It is a film that has already shown that the public is interested. So we're hoping to get signs from the public as well that they will push it to get on screen and go out and watch it with their friends and their family. It's a story that touches upon all our lives. It's the story of the men who built so hard for us and sacrificed by being away from their families. So I came here today to really urge the public who might have seen this film or heard of it to support it so we can have a successful run.
All right, so what do you need from people?
We would love for people to get on champofthecampmovie.com and click on support our campaign and contribute what they can. In exchange of this contribution, we also have wonderful prizes that we have designed that people can collect eventually. Stuff like posters, the commercial DVD of this film once it's released. And I myself am offering to present a live commentary to this film at someone's home against the highest pledge that we have on the website right now.
Do you have a target that you're looking for?
Yes, we do. We are aiming to raise around $75,000, which is the money we need for a proper media campaign to promote this film. If we get that, we believe this film will actually run for 2 weeks, possibly more. And the more people go to see it, the longer the engagement will be extended. It's all an experiment that we're doing, but we really, really have faith in this one in particular, namely because it's a story from here, and the premiere did so incredibly well, as I told you.
And as I saw when I was at the screening at Mall of the Emirates and the impact that it had on people that were there, impact on myself, the outpouring of emotion that people had. And I think people were surprised at how they were actually affected.
Of course, it's a story that's been waiting to be told for so long. I think the wonderful people who live across this country have retained a certain sense of gratitude towards their workers for years, but there was never really a portal or a bridge built between the two communities. On that night, people got to meet the laborers. They got to see how they live, how they eat, and they got to listen to compelling stories. And more importantly, they were entertained by some incredible singing by some of these guys. So it's really a film that offers so many different things at once. And it's a story from home. It's from the other side of the highway and from behind the towers that we see every day. So I really hope that people will come out and support us.
Well, I do wish you all the best with your campaign. People should at least try and make sure they see the film at the cinema. So once again, how can people help?
People can help us by contributing to a crowdfunding campaign that we just created on the Aflamna website. You can access it through the film's website, which is champofthecampmovie.com. Monies raised will be used towards the intensive promotion and advertising that we need to do for this theatrical release, so we actually stand a chance of remaining on screen while our theaters here show the other blockbusters by famous stars and films from Hollywood and Bollywood and whatnot. This campaign stands to achieve a few other things if the film succeeds. It will get us into theaters across the Gulf as well. We believe this is a story that resonates in neighboring countries as well, and we want to see it roll out from here. The film will probably present a symbolic reconciliation between two halves of our societies who live on either side of an invisible barrier that simply exists. And we love to think that people will walk out from the movie theater with more empathy for our laborers and a better understanding of how much work really goes into building the towers and the wonderful cities that we live in here.
Director of Champ of the Camp, Mahmoud Kaabour, thank you so much for coming in, and I really wish you all the best of the luck.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you.